clique may have started because of more than land somewhere inside Yemen past. There may be evidence connected to the same powerful businessman now trying to gain control of the farm. If that evidence still exists, it can explain why the pressure became violent. It can also explain why somebody is willing to take such serious risks to frighten. Yemen divided the family and removed Doga from the investigations. The search is no longer only about protecting Skikli. It has become a search for the trust about that what happened or to Yemen years earlier. Dogaville refuses to stop searching even though it is late. She will open another box and find old notebooks filled with calculations, diagrams, and handwritten notes. Yemen will tell her most of those papers are useless now, but Doga disagrees. She says people usually call something useless when they do not understand why another person is looking for it. Yemen tells her that sounds like one of her businessman speeches. Doga replies that he should feel lucky because normally people say to hear her speak like that. Yemen says he has already paid enough by surviving months of agreements with her. Doga gives him an annoyed look, but the familiar teasing reduces the pressure for a few seconds. Then Doga finds old involved inside in a photograph of Yemen from his university days, standing beside two classmates. Behind them is a technical model that looks like part of a development project. Doga studies the picture. She asks Yemen what the model was. He says it was a student project about environmentally responsible constructions. He and his team had studied several companies working in the regions. Their goal was to show how development could happen without destroying existing agriculture. Asked, Doga looks at him. The irony is impossible to miss. Year later, Yemen is fighting a development company trying to do exactly what his old project warns against. She asks whether the businessman now connected to Kikli was mentioned in the university study. Yemen says one of his companies was. Doga becomes more interested. She asks if Yemen criticized the company. He says not directly. However, while doing research, he noticed that some official environmental figures did not match information from another public report. At first, he assumes it was an error. Doga asked what kind of difference. Yemen explained that one report showed the company using much more land and water than another record admitted. It could have been a mistake or it could have been deliberate. Doga immediately understands why the file may have been dangerous. If Yemen found proof that a company submits false information to regulators, the consequence could have been serious. She asked whether he put the comparisons in his final proposals. Yemen says yes. Doga asked whether he showed the proposals during the interview at Agriculture's Holidays years earlier. Yemen becomes quiet. He says part of it. Doga faces changes. The days she thought was only a bad job interview may have involved something much larger happens behind the scenes. She asks who else saw the fire. Yemen tries to remember. He says several people from the technical department. A manager may be someone connected to a partner's company. Doga asks whether the businessman could have been one of those people. Yemen says he does not remember seeing him directly. Doga says that it does not matter. A file can travel through an office faster than the persons who created it realized. They continue searching. Eventually, Yemen's become tired and tells Doga to stop. She refuses. He takes the box from her hands. Doga says she is perfectly capable of carrying it. Yaman says he knows that is not the point. Doga asks what the point is. Yaman tells her she has not slept properly for 2 nights. She says nothing he has. Yaman says he is used to waking early. Doga replies that being stubborn is not the same as being healthy. Yaman tells her to go to bed. Doga crosses her arms. She asks whether that is an order. Yaman smiles slightly. He says it is suggestions from someone who wants to keep his girlfriend alive long enough to continue annoying him. Doga becomes still. She repeats one word, girlfriend. Yaman immediately realized he used the word naturally. Doga's face slowly turns into a smile. Yaman asks what it's so funny. She says nothing. Yaman tells her not to begin. Doga says she simply finds it interesting that he finally found a definition for their relationships. Yaman reminds her she complained about not having one. Doga says she expected more romance. Yaman asks what she wanted him to do. Write a contract. Doga says a contract would at least include clear terms. Yaman replies that dating already feels like singing something without reading the dangerous clauses. She hits him slightly with a notebook. The small romantic scenes help both of them realize some of the tensions. Before leaving, Doga looks back at the boxes. She says the drive has to be somewhere. Yaman agrees he just does not know where. Doga says they will find it. Yaman asks why she sounds more curtains than he does. She tells him because he taught her something important. He asks why. Doga says people at Kikli do not give up easily. Yaman smiles. Then she leaves. Yaman remains alone for another minute, looking at the old photograph. The young old man is the pictures of his futures would be built in cities, office and engineering companies. He had no idea that years later greatest fight would be protecting a farm. He also had no idea that the woman who once became part of his lost memory could become the person helping him search for the trust. The next morning, Doga receives a call from her father. He has heard about the fire and the growing investigations. His voice is serious. He tells her to return to Istanbul immediately. Doga says no. Her father says this is no longer a small dispute about a farm. Someone started a fire. Someone may have tried to hurt her. He does not care about the investment anymore. He wants her away from Kikli. Doga tells him leaving would not make the problem disappear. Her father says the police can handle the problem. Doga replies that the police are working on one part of it, but she has information connected to companies in their own business network. That sentence changes the conversation. Her father asks what she means. Doga does not reveal everything over the phone. She tells him there is a businessman connected to the property companies and possibilities to Yemen-old engineer research. Her father's become quiet. He asks for the name. Doga gives it. The reactions on the other end in not what she expects. Her father does not sound surprised enough. Doga noticed immediately. She asked whether he already knew something about the man. Her father said they worked together a year ago. Doga says if there were problems, he tells her they were discuss it in person. Doga becomes suspicious. She says she is not coming to Istanbul. If she wants to talk, he can come to Kiklik. Her father is silent. Then he agrees. After the call, Doga finds Yemen near the field. She tells him her father reacted strategy to the businessman's name. Yemen asks whether that means her father is involved. Doga depression changes. Yemen immediately says he is not accusing him. Doga says she knows But the question still hurts. She has spent days discovering that people around her carry hidden trust. Vera might know, possibly her father. She tells Yaman she needs to know what her fathers know before reaching conclusions. Yaman agrees this is another important sign of change in their relationships. Earlier, Yaman may have allowed his district of Doga world to control him. Now he does not assume her family is guilty simply because they have business connections. Doga appreciates that. She quietly takes his hand. Yaman looks down. She says thank you. He asks for what? He says for not turning one suspicious reactions into a complete accusation. Yaman understands the reference to his earlier mistake. He tells her he is trying. Doga smiles. I noticed before they can continue, perhaps scan them toward the house. Something has arrived. A legal notice has been delivered to. Doga opens it. The development company is claiming temporary access rights over the old road, exactly as the predicted. They argue that an old agreement remains active under a legal extension. Yaman becomes furious. Doga immediately asks to see the attached documents. It is a copy of the missing extensions. On the surface, it looks official, but the date is wrong. Doga compares it with the certified record they receive. One signature belongs to a man who had already died before the supposed extension was signed. She looks at Yaman. The document is almost contently false. This means someone has moved from manipulations into forgery. Doga tells everyone not to panic. The fake documents can be challenged. However, will a court review the issue? The company may try to use the claim to send survey teams onto the road. Yaman says nobody is entering Catholics. Doga warns him that physically blocking people with a legal notice could create another case. Yaman says he does not care. Doga tells him he needs to care. The investors want him angry. They want footage of Yaman shouting at workers or threatening representatives. Then they can present him as a dangerous and unreasonable. Yaman hates the logic but the understands it. Doga says they will prepare, their lawyer will file an immediate challenge. They will also gather proof that the document is false. Yaman asks how quickly. Doga says as fast as possible. That afternoon, company surveyors arrive. Yaman stands at the entrance with several family members. Doga is beside him. The surveyors present their papers. Doga remains calm. She tells them the legal claim is formally disputed. They can remain on the public road, but they cannot enter private sections without purchase authority. The survey manager says he has instructions. Doga tells him she also has instructions. Her comes from the current owners and legal counsels. The manager tries to imitate her with technical language. Doga responds with even more precise legal language. Yaman watches. He almost smiles. The manager expected an emotional warm family. Instead, he found Doga. Eventually, the team leaves without entering. Yaman asks Doga whether she enjoyment moment like that. She says more than she should. He says it was frightening. Doga asks what. Yaman replies that he almost felt sorry for the man. She says he chose the wrong persons to argue with. Their victory is temporary but is threatening morals. The investors now know legal pressure will not be enough. Meanwhile, Vera continues searching old message connected to Murt. She finds reference to a nickname used for the powerful businessman. More importantly, she finds message mentioning a technical file years ago. At the time, Vera never understood what Merz was talking about. Now the words make sense. He shows Doga one message from Mert read. They still think the engineer kept a copy. The date is only weeks after Yaman accident. Doga face loses color. She asks whether she remembers who they means. Vera says Nomad often spoke and thought she understood his business conversations when she did not. Another message says if the copy appears, everyone has a problem. Doga immediately takes the phone to Yaman. He reads the message. For several seconds he says nothing. The accidental suddenly feels much less random. Doga asks whether he remembers anything strange from the days before it happened. Yaman closes his eyes. Her remember receiving calls from unknown number. Someone asked to meet him about his engineering research. He refused. Then one evening a car followed him. He cannot say with certainty that the same car caused the accident. But he remembers bright headlight too close behind him shortly before losing control. Doga becomes emotional. She asks why he never told anyone. Yaman says after the accident everything was choice. His family had others problem. He was injured. His career's plan despairs. He convinced himself that fears was making him connect unrelated things. Doga says maybe it was not fear. Maybe someone really wanted the file. Yaman asks why they would still care after all these years. Doga explained that evidence does not become harmless simply because time passes. If the same businessman is man working on another questionable project, proof of an old pattern could destroy him. Yaman research may show he knowledgeably used false environmental information year earlier that could raise questions about every latest project. Yaman asks what they do. Doga says they find the drive before anyone else. Their search becomes more urgent. They check every box again. Safest remember that after Yaman accident, some personal belongings were moved into an old equipment room rather than the family storage. Yaman had forgotten they hurried theirs. The room has not been used properly in years. Just cover everything, old tools, broken sleeves and boxes. It sits against the walls. Doga looks around. She says if the drive is somewhere here, they may need a miracles. Yemen tells her she wanted a formal life. Doga says he wanted our relationships, not archaeologically. They begin searching horse past. They find nothing. Then Doga noticed an old backpack hanging behind a cabinet. Yemen recognized it immediately. He used it during university. Inside are old pens, recipients, and our damaged notebooks. No drive. Doga checked every pocket empty. Yaman looks disappointed. Then Doga noticed a small tears in the lining. She puts her finger inside. Something hard is trapped between the fabric layers. She pulls it out. A small storage drive. Both freeze. Doga looks at Yaman. Yaman looks at the drive. Neither celebrate immediately. The object has been missing for years. They do not know whether it still works. Doga says they should not plug it into an ordinary computer. If the drive contains valuable evidence, they need to copy it safely. They cannot. Someone trusted by Doga's father's legal team and arrange secure access before they can leave. A vehicle enters, kills. Doga father has arrived. The timing could not be more important. He stepped out looking more serious than usual. Yaman becomes tense. Doga noticed. She tells him to let her speak first. Yaman says he is not planning to start a fight. Doga raises an eyebrow. He says he is capable of normal conversations. She says history gives mixed evidence. Doga greets her father. He looks at the carefully check whether she is injured. She tells him she is fine. He asks to speak inside. Yaman joins them. At first, Doga's father is clearly uncomfortable with Yaman begins present. Doga says Yaman stays her father understands there will be no private family versions of the trust. He begins explaining years earlier the businessman now connected to Kickles worked closely with Arkali holding on several development projects. He was ambitious, persuasive and very successful. Doga's father trusted him for a time, then financial irregularities appeared. A project suffers environmental complaint. There were rumors that technical record had been changed. The partnership ended quality because Arkali Holding wanted distance from the scandals. Doga asked why nobody reported the problems publicly. Her fathers become uncomfortable. He says they lacked proof. Doga asks whether that was the only reason. He does not answer immediately. Yaman watches carefully. Doga becomes angry. She asks again. Her father admits the company also wanted to avoid public damage. Ended the partnership rather than fighting publicly. Doga is disappointed. She says silence allowed the businessman to continue. Her father agrees. He says he understands that now. At the time, protecting the company seems like protecting thousands of employees and investments. Doga tells him powerful people always have good explanations for choosing silence. The sentence reminds her of Vera. Her father accepts the Christians. Then Yaman asks whether he knows anything about Yaman engineering proposals. Doga father looks at him. He remembers the interview. He remembers the young engineers. But he says he never saw the full research. After Yaman left, one manager mentioned our technical documents creating concerns with the former partners. He did not understand the importance. A few days later, he heard Yaman had been injured. Doga asked whether he connected the events. Her father says no, not then. Now he is no longer sure. Yaman asks for the manager's name. Doga father gives it. The man left the company shortly after the incidents. They try contacting him. His old number is inactive. Doga father says he will have people locate him. Legally, Yaman remains quiet. Doga noticed anger building inside him. She followed him outside. After the meetings, Yaman walked toward the edge of the farm. Doga catches up. She asks what he is thinking. He says for years he believed the Rose things that happens around the interview was humiliation. Now he is learning people may have known he was in danger and choose silence. Doga says they do not know that for curtains. Yaman says her fathers admitted people were more interested in protecting the company than exposing the trust. Doga becomes defensive for a second, then she stops herself. Yaman has a right to be angry. She tells him she is worried. Yaman says she did not make those decisions. Doga replies that the world she came from did. Yaman turns to her. He says he does not want her carrying everyone else's guilt again. She has already done that too much. Doga looks emotional. Yaman says if her father's made mistake, her father has to face them. If the businessman committed crimes, he has to face them. Doga is responsible only for her choices. She asks what her choices are now. Yaman says she is standing hers, helping him find the trust. That is enough. Doga takes his hand. She tells him they will finishing this. Yaman asks whether she always sounds dangerous when she makes promises. Doga says only when someone else deserves to be worried. The drive is taken to a secure computer. Everyone waits for a few seconds, nothing happens. Then the device opens, several folders appeared. Yemen recognized them. He all university work, engineering calculations, copies of public environmental record, photos, email exchange. Doga opens the folder connected to the development company. The evidence is stronger than expected. Yemen has downloaded two versions of an environmental assessment. The first version showed higher water use, greater land disturbance, and warning from technical staff. The second official versions remove several warnings and reduce the numbers. There are also internal emails accidentally attached to one document. One senior person still involved to correct the presentations before sending the final report. The businessman's name appears. Doga looks at her father's become pale. This is proof, not perfect proof of every crime, but enough to trigger a major investigation. Yemen asks whether this could also connect to the accident. Doga says not directly, but it gives a clear reasons why someone wanted the files. They immediately creates multiple copies. One goes to a liar, another goes to secure good storage, a third is placed with Doga fathers. Yemen keeps the original drive. Doga says no, keeping the original at least is too dangerous. Yemen asks what she suggests. She says they should place it in a secure legal office. Yemen agrees before the transfer can happen. However, someone inside the network learns the drive has been found. Mert receives a furious call. The businessman demands to know whether the information is true. Mert says he does not know. The businessman tells him Doga father suddenly contacted an old manager from the company. That means something has changed. Mert realizes the dangers. He asks what the businessman wants. The answer is simple, recover the drive. Mert refuses. He says he has already done enough. The businessman reminds him of the payment and evidence linking Mert to the land plan. Mert says he also has evidence. Silence follows for the first time. Mert openly threatening the man above him. He says if anything happens to him, every message and payment record will reach police. The businessman calls him foolish. Mert responds that begins useful to powerful people taught him something. Always keep a copy the conversations and Mert know he has just become a target too. Instead of running, he decides to make his own deals. He contacts Toga. She does not want to answer. Yemen tells her to put the calls on speakers. Mert says needs to meet. Toga asks why. He says because the peoples behind the land project are preparing something worse. Yemen tells him to speak now. Mert hears Yemen voices and laughs. He says he will only talk face to face. Doga refuses to meet alone. Mert says he is expected dead. They agree to public locations with police informed nearby. At the meeting, Mert looked different, less confident. He is still arrogant, but fear now sits underneath it. Toga asks what he wants. Mert says protections. Yemen almost laughs. He says what they will protect him. Mert says because he can give him the asset financial structures behind the land purchases, company names, payment, peoples involved. Toga asks he wants his returns. Mert wants Toga to help him immediately negotiate with authorities. She tells him she cannot promise immunity. Mert he says now he wants a choice. Yemen says he should have the third chance before using Vira and attacking the family. Mert becomes defensive. He says he did not order the storage room in incidents on the fire. Doga studies his face for the first time. She believes that part may be true. She asks who did. Mert says the businessman has a security advisor who handled problems without asking too many questions. Yaman asks for the name. Mert gives it. It is the same man Vira identified near the file. They now have storage confirmations. Mert continue. The land project originally involved only financial pressure by shares. Critical legal problems make people stride enough to sell. The violence started when the businessman learns Yaman might still have his old engineer's files. Doga asks how he learns. Mer says someone at the holding year ago reported that Yaman properly kept copies. Yaman become energy. He asks who Mer does not know or claim not to. Doga asks what the businessman intend now. Mert looked directly at Yaman. He wants the drive before it reaches authorities. Yaman says too late. Mert expressions changes. He realized copy already exists. Doga tells him the evidence is secure. Mert laughs once he says then the businessman is going to panic. Doga asks what a panicked man will do. Mert answers something stupid. The meeting ends with Doga engineering to pass Mert information to investigators without promising anything. Yaman hates giving Mert even that small chance. Doga tells him information matters more than revenge. Yaman says he knows he just dislikes hearing good advice when Mert benefit from it. Doga says that is because he is emotionally difficult. Yaman says she already knows that before falling in love. The sentence stops for a second. She smiles. Then she says he's clearly made a poor decision. Yaman puts an arms around her. He says it is late to return him. Doga says she always read to the return policy. Yaman says patiently not this time. Their romantic moment become important because dangers around them continue increasing, yet their relationship is become stronger rather than weaker. Back at Kikli's, Doga's father decides to stay for several days. He wants to help repair the damage created partly by years of corporate silence. His presence creates some awkward family sense. He is not used to farm life. The first morning, Yaman wakes him much earlier than expected because everyone is already working. Doga's father appears outside looking completely unhappy. Doga secretly enjoying it. Yaman asks whether he wants office. The man says yes. Yaman gives him strong warm coffee. He takes one sip and nearby cough. Doga laughs. Her father accuses her of enjoying his suffering. She says Kiklik's build characters. Yaman looks impressed. He tells Doga she has finally learned something. She warns him not to become proud. These lighters sense allow Yaman and Doga fathers. He slowly understand each other's. One afternoon they work together, review old project maps. Doga leaves them alone internationally. At first they barely speak. Then the fathers ask Yaman whether he truly plans to remain at Kikkel's forever. Yaman says yes. Her father asks whether he expects Doga to do the same. Yaman's expression changes. He says he does not expect Doga to give up her like for him. Her father asks how our relationships between such different worlds can work. Yaman says he does not know yet. But Doga is not a person anyone can successfully control. If she can anyone successfully, if she want a career in Istanbul, she will have one. If she want to build project at Sikli, she will do that too. They will figure out the distance. Doga father is surprised. He may have expected Yaman to want these daughters to choose the farm completely. Instead, Yaman respects her ambitions. This begins changes the father's views of him. He tells Yaman that Doga has spent her whole life acting as though she does not need anyone. Yaman says he is noticed. Her father said that makes the people she finally does choose very important. Yaman understands the warning. He says he has no intentions of threatening her choice lightly. The older man nods. They do not suddenly become friends, but respect begins. Meanwhile, Vera keeps working to repair her friendship with Toga. She avoids emotional pressure. She does not contextually add whether Toga forgives her. Instead, she helps with the investigation, supports the form, and tells the trust even when it is uncomfortable. One evening, Toga finds her organizing evidence. She asks whether Vera is staying up all night internationally. Vera says she could not sleep. Toga sits opposite her. They work silently. After a while, Toga asks whether Vera still has feelings for Mert. Vera looks surprised. She says no. Toga asks whether she is sure. Vera says whether she once felt desperate years ago. Now she mostly feels embarrassed that she allowed him so much control. Doga says Mert is good at making people feel chosen until they realized they were only useful. Vera agrees. Doga asks whether she will compare herself to her. Vera becomes uncomfortable. She says yes. Doga looks hurt. Vera explains she always felt like Toga entered the room even naturally confident. While she remained in the background, Mert noticed that insecurity. He made Vera feel special by telling her she was different from Doga. Doga asked why Vera never told her she felt invisible. Vera smiled sadly because Doga would have tried to fix it. Doga says maybe she should have. Vera says not every insecurity begins to someone else to repairs. That answer shows Vera has changed too. Doga becomes emotional. She says she steals energy. Vera says she is not. Doga continue, but she also misses her friend. Vera's eyes fill with tears. She asks whether that means Toga stopped her. She says it means they are trying. Nothing more yet. Vera smiles. Trying is enough. The friendship takes another small step forward. The legal case around the road becomes stronger when Doga lawyer proved the extensions. Documents vast for their survey claim is suspected. Kalki's win and other battles. The public coverage also increases. The development company begins losing investors. Several partners distance themselves. The powerful businessman realizes the entire project may collapse. More importantly, the old enduring evidence threatening her reputation for beyond tackles. His depression grows. He orders his security advisors to recover the original driver because before it officially enters an evidence chain. The advisor says copies already exist. The businessman says copies can be challenged. The original is more dangerous. If they destroy it, they can claim the digital files were created later. The advisors ask how far he wants to go. The businessman says finish it. That instructions begin the darkest part of sections 4. At security has increased, but the attackers know the property well now. One evening an electrical problem appears near the animals area. Yaman and several workers leave the main house to check it. At almost the same time, Doga receives a message that appears to come from the lawyer responsible for moving the drive. The message says the original should remain at Kikli's until the next morning because of a producer's issue. Doga finds this strange. She calls the lawyer. No answer. She tells Veera something feels wrong. Veera suggests they contact Doga's father before they can. The lights go out. Complete darkness covers the house. Doga immediately understands this is not an ordinary power failure. She grabs her phone. No singles. A jammer may be operating nearby. Veera becomes frightened. Doga tells her to lock the door. They hear glass break downstairs. Somewhere has entered. Doga whispers that she needs to move away from the office where the drive was previously kept. They do not know whether the attackers understand it has already been copied. Veera asks the original is. Doga says Yemen still has is temporarily. That means Yemen may be a real target. Outside, Yemen realized the electrical problem was a distraction. The cable was deliberately disconnected. He immediately thinks of the house. He runs back. Safest follow. Near the house, they see a dark vehicle hidden behind tree. Yemen tells Safest to call police from a point farther away where signals may work. He enters the house through the back. Inside, Doga and Veera. Her footsteps. A masked man move through the downstairs room. He searches drawer. He knows exactly what he wants. Doga silently leads Vera toward another exit. Before they reach it, a second person appears. They are trapped. They men demand the drive. Doga pretended not to know what he means. He says not to waste time. Vera tries to move toward the door. The second attackers block her. Doga remains surprisingly calm. She asks who sent them. The man says her questions are irrelevant. Doga says that means she guessed correctly. He becomes impatient. He grabs her arms. Veera shouts. At that moment, Yaman enters. He sees the man holding Doga. His entire expression changes. Yaman tells him to release her. The attackers turn. The second man moves toward Yaman. A fight begins. Yaman manages to push one man into a table. The other realizes that Doga and joins the fight. Doga pulls Veera away. She looks for something to use. Veera grabs a heavy object. One attacker resurges toward Yaman with a metal stool. Doga strikes his arm with a chair before he can hit Yaman. The tools falls. Yaman looks at her in surprise. Doga shouts that this is not the time to admire her. They continue fighting. One attacker runs. The other becomes trapped between Yaman and the doorway. He escapes through a broken window. Yaman starts following. Doga grabs him. He tells him not to run outside alone. There may be more pupils. Yaman looked at her hand on his arm. He wanted to chase them, but she is right. Sirens can be heard in the distance. The attackers flee. Police arrive minutes later. No one is seriously injured, but the message is clear. They came directly for the drive. Yaman tells police everything. Security footage captures part of the vehicles. The license plate is false. However, one attacker dropped a phone. This became a major breakthrough. The device is locked, but investigators may be able to recover information. Doga fathers arrive from another part of the property. He sees the broken house and immediately asks whether Doga is safe. He says yes. Then he looks at Yaman. Yaman has a cut near his forehead. Doga notices is now only. She becomes angry. She takes him inside and starts cleaning the injury. Yaman says it is a small. Doga tells him to stop saying every injury is small. He smiles silently. He asks what is funny. Yaman says what they first meet again. She barely wanted to stand near him. Now she is threatening him while cleaning blood from his face. Doga tells him relationships involve. Yaman says apparently into aggressive medical scare. She gives him a warning look, then hands begin shaking. Yaman noticed. He gently takes them. The fear arrived late. During the attack, Doga remained calm because she had to survive. Now she realized how easily Yamans could have been seriously hurt. She says she is tired of people trying to destroy everything around them. Yaman says they are most finished. Doga says no, he separated. People make mistake. Tonight they made several. They left a phone. They were a scenes and they confirm the drive is what they fear most. Doga looks at him. He says something she hates when he sounds optimistic. Yaman replies that she is usually the optimistic one. Doga says she prefers optimist when nobody is breaking windows. He pulls her closer. He rests against him. How a few seconds they simply breathe. The next day, investigators recovers partial data from the dropped phone. Most messages were deleted. One recent calls remain. The number belongs to the security advisors to the businessman. Now police have direct evidence connected the home invasions to the development network. The advisors disappeared before Ken arrested. The businessman publicly denied knowing anything. He claimed raw employees acted identify. Doga is furious. She tells her father that powerful people always suddenly discover ignorance when their employees are caught. Her father agrees. This time he is ready to be publicly Arkalai holding announced it is cooperating with investigators reading historical business records. The statement creates headline. The businessman company begin losing value. Partners withdraw. The pressure become national rather than local. Kiki is no longer an easy target hidden in the countryside. Yemen worried about the intentions. Doga tells him public attention is protect them now. If anything happen, anyone will ask question. Yaman say he will dislike cameras. Doga tells him the camera dislike him too because he never smile. Yaman says he smiled. Doga says only when she suffers. He admit that happens fairly often. She walk away pretending to be often despite the progress. The missing security advisors remain dangerous. Police believe he may attempt to leave country. Mud contract Doga again. This time he sounds frightening. He says the advisors know when he leaves. Doga asks whether Mud wants sympathy. Mud say he wants a deal. He has recording proving the businessman personally approve illegal pressure around quickly. Doga tells him to give them to police. Mud says he will but he wants accusers first. Doga tells him to running out to time to negotiate. Mud asks whether Yaman is with her. She says yes. Mud tells Yaman to listen. He says the businessman no longer cares about the land project. The project is finished. Now he cares only about destroying the engineer evidence and controlling witness. Yaman asks who the main witnesses are. Mud says himself, the security advisors, and possibly the former Arkalai manager from years ago. Doga asks whether the manager is alive. Mud says yes. He gives them allocations. The man has been living quality is another city. Police are informed. Doga and Yaman also decide to speak with him. Once authorities secure the situation, the former manager become the persons who can finally contact Yaman accident to the old company problem. When they meet him, he is older and deeply uncomfortable. He says he has spent years regretting his silence. Yaman asks what he knew. The manager explained that after Yaman interviewed the technical documents reaches the businessman, the man became furious because Yaman had accidentally included internal information that could not have been public. He ordered the manager to recover every copy. The manager contacted Yaman once. Yaman refuses. The manager then told the businessman he could not force him. Several days later, Yaman accident happened. The manager became suspicious. He asked questions. The businessman told him to stop it. He wanted to keep career. Instead, the manager resigns. Yaman asked why he never went to police. The man looks ashamed, fear no proof, a young family. He convinced himself that suspicious was not enough. Yaman became emotional. He said that silence allowed ear for uncertainty. The manager accepts the blame. He says yes. Doga watches Yaman. This is another moment where the must decide what to do with someone else's failure. Yaman does not forgive immediately. He says the manager should now tell investigators everything. The man agrees. His tenacity becomes a major breakthrough. It does not. The businessman personally caused Yaman accident, but it proved motive, threat, and attempt to recover the file. Police response questions should around the all crash. Yaman walk outside after the meeting. Doga follows. He looks over him. For years, the accident was a closed wound. Now it has opened again. Doga asks if the regret fighting the trust. Yaman says he does not yet. Some trust begins peace, other creates new pain. Doga says maybe peace comes later. Yaman asks how long later. She smiles sadly. I am still learning. Yaman look at her. She says she once believed trust solve everything immediately. Then Veera thought her dad can arrive. That are um, enough still hurt but still grow heavier with him. Yaman takes her hand. He says she has become very physiological from someone who used to solve problems with super spreadsheet. Doga says she can still make a spreadsheet about emotional damage if he wants. Yaman laughs. The tensions break when they returns to quickly. The firm is beginning to repair the physical damage from the attacks. The broken window is replaced. The burned equipment area is clean. Worker rebuild faces. Doga looks around and says quickly refuses to stay damaged. Yaman says that it because people keep repairing it. Relationships too. He looks at her. She is thinking about Vera. That evening, Doga finds Veera outside. She sits beside her. For a while, they watch the firm quality. Doga says she spoke to the former manager. Veera asks what happens. Doga explains. Then she says something unexpected. She says, understand fear better now. The manager stayed silent because he was afraid. That does not make the silence right, but it makes it human. Veera looked at her. Doga says the same is probably true about Veera. Veera tears up. Doga tells her she is angry that Veera waited so long. Veera says she should be. Doga continues, but she no longer wants to punish both of them forever. Veera asks what that means. Doga says it means she is willing to try rebuilding the relationship slowly, honestly, not hidden things. Veera agrees immediately. They hug. The embrace is emotional, but now magical try is not completely restored. It is beginnings. The same theme now runs through every part of the story. Kiklis is rebuilding after fire. Yaman is rebuilding his understandings of her past. Doga and Veera are rebuilding friendship. Doga and her fathers are rebuilding trust about the company. Old decisions. Nothing returns to what it was. Instead, everything becomes something new. The security advisor is finally located. Police stop him before he leaves the regions. Evidence from the vehicles include tools, fakes, license plates, and records linking him to fire and home invasions. He refuses to speak at first. When investigators show him the businessman is publicly denied any connections, his loyalty begins weakening. He realizes he may be sacrificed eventually. He agrees to cooperate. He says the businessman never directly said start a fire. Instead, we use phrases like increase pressure and make resistance costly. The advisors interrupted those instructions aggressively. However, for the attack on Yemen old evidence, the order becomes more direct. Recover the drive at any cost. The testimony places the businessman in serious legal dangers. An arrested order is prepared, but before police reach him, he disappeared. His house is empty, his phones are off. A private aircraft booking was made but never used. Nobody knows where he went. Doga father says this is dangerous. A powerful man with nothing left to protect may act internationally. Yemen increased security again. Doga says she is not leaving. Yemen tells her he was not going to ask. She smiles. He has finally learned. For 2 nights nothing's happened. The claim becomes almost uncomfortable. Everyone waits, then an involved arrives at quickly no standards. Inside is a photograph. It showed Doga and Yaman sitting together outside the previous evening. The picture was taken from nearby. On the back are 4 words: "Bring me the original." Yaman face becomes cold. Doga looks around the property instinctively. Someone watched them from close range. Police are informed immediately. They tell the family not to respond. Doga disagrees. She says if the businessman is nearby, this may be their chance to bring him out. Yaman refuses. He will not. Doga as bit. Doga says nobody said she would be bit. Yemen asks what she is suggested. She wants to make him believe the original drive is still at Kikli and arrange a control exchange. Police are surrounded the locations. Yemen says it is too dangerous. Doga reminds him the business already know where they lives. Waiting does not remove dangers. It allowed him to choose the next moment. Yemen's later hates that she is right. Doga father support the idea, only it police fully control it. A plan is created, a message is sent through the channel used to drive the photograph. We have the original. Stop threatening the family. A reply arrives tomorrow night. Old road. Yemen alone. Doga looks at Yemen. Yemen says absolutely not. Doga says whether he is refusing because he is scared. Yemen says yes. The honesty surprises her. He says walking into a meeting with a desperate man is obviously frightening, but he will do if necessary. Doga says then he will do not it alone. The businessman demanded Yemen alone. Police say they can remain hidden nearby. Doga secretly planned to stay closer that Yemen wants. The following night becomes the most tense moment of 10 sections for Yemen drive the old road carrying a harmless duplicate arrive. Public terms are positions at a distance. Doga is supposed to remain in a monitoring vehicles. She hates every second. Yemen stand beside his truck under weak moonlight. Minutes pass, the headlines appears, a car stop. The businessman stepped out. He looked tired, angry, and completely different from the published man Doga once saw at corporate event. He asked for the drive. Yemen asked whether he used the accident years earlier. The man says this is not the time for old stories. Yemen refuses to hand anything over until he answers. The businessman becomes irritated. He says Yemen should have left things alone years ago. Yemen asks if that is confessions. The man says it is advice. Man tells him his advice already destroyed enough lives. The businessman laughs bitterly. He says Yemen has spent years imagining himself as a victim of powerful people. But business is not personal. Project move forward. Weak people become obstacles. Yemen says burning his family property felt personal. The man blames the security advisors. Yaman asks about the never ordered violence. Yaman tells him every record suddenly discover innocent employees. When police arrive, the businessman becomes angry. He demands the drive again. Yaman says copies already exist. The man does not believe him. He says Doga is too smart to leave uncontrolled evidence everywhere. Yaman tells him that is exactly why she made multiple copies. The man face changes. He replies the original may no longer matter. At that moment, another vehicle approaches unexpectedly. Mert nobody planned for him to come. Doga sees the car from the monitoring point and immediately becomes worried. Mert steps out holding a folder. The businessman looks furious. He asks what Mert is doing. Mert says protecting himself. The folder contains copy of payment records. Mert tells him the game is finished. If he begins to blame, everyone is going down to gutters. The businessman tells Mert he is a fool. Mert says perhaps but not a loyal fool. Their argument becomes intense. They begin revealing details openly. The businessman says Mert was paid to create financial pressure and use safest weakness. Must say the businessman approved the fake excuse claim. The businessman says used Vera without instructions. Mert replies that dividing Doga from her friend was necessary because the businessman's own plan kept falling. Everything is begins recorded. Police wait for the right moment. Then the businessman noticed something, teeny reflections in the distance. He realized the meeting is surrounding. His expression changes. He pulls a weapon from his jacket. Yaman frees. Mert step back. The businessman points the weapons toward Yaman. Police shout from the darkness. He grabs Mert is instead, using him as protection. Choice begins. Doga sees the situation and ignores instructions to stay inside the vehicles. She moves closer behind cover. Yaman shouts at the businessman to release Mert. Mert, terrified, saying nothing. The businessman tries moving toward his car. Police block the route. He panics. Then he sees Doga. She is too close. He changes directions. Yaman immediately knows what he is thinking. He shouts for Doga to move. The businessman grabs her before she can step back. Everything stops. The weapon is now near Doga. Yaman's face loses all colors. The businessman tells everyone to lower their weapons. Doga remains surprisingly calm. Yaman tells him not to hurt her. The man says that depends on whether Yaman gives him the original drive. Yaman takes the duplicate from his pocket. Doga realizes what he is about to do. She also realizes something else. The businessman still believes controlling one object can save him. He says quality it useless. He tells her to be silent. Doga continues the file where copied horses after they found the drive. Lawyer have them. Police have them. Her father has them. Even if the takes the original, nothing changes. The man says she is lying. Doga smiles silently. She asks whether he really believes she would trust Yaman to carry the only copy of something that important. Yaman looks offered, dispute the dangers. Doga says no offness. Yaman replies some taken. The ridiculous exchange shocked the businessman. For 1 second his attention breaks. Doga moves. Yaman rushes forward. Public act. The weapons fail. The businessman is brought to the ground. Doga moves toward the Yaman immediately. He grabs her in a powerful embrace. For several seconds, anger replaces positions. He tells her never to leave the safe positions during a police operations again. Doga says she did not plan to become a hostage. Yaman tells her she never plans any of the dangerous things that happens. Doga says prepares dangers is attracted to her. Yaman replies that she is beginning to believe that. Then he pulls back and checks her face. She is fine. Mert is also saved and taken into custody for questioning. The businessman is arrested. The long hidden structures quickly behind collapsing completely after the arrest. Yaman and Doga sit in silence near the road while police finish their work. Doga hands are shaking again. Yaman give her in jacket. She looks at start laughing. Yaman asks what is funny. Doga says their relationships apparently um, should be create disasters. Yaman admits that is true. They he becomes serious. He tells her he was terrified when he businessman grabbed her. Doga says he know. He says yes. He laughs. She explains business losses can usually to be measured. Money, property, contract. When someone you love is in danger, there is no number larger enough to describe the fears. Yaman understands. Uh, she takes her hand. Doga rests her hand on the shoulders. The battle is not legally finished. Trial investigations and company consequence will continue. But the immediate threat is over. For the first time is week. Sick leave may finally breathe. The section will close the following morning. Sunlight spread across the farm. Doga stands beside Yaman. Her father approaches him, tells them investigators confirm the businessman will remain in custody while the case develops. The old accident investigations has also officially responded. Yaman looks toward the field. Doga asks what he feels. He says he expected the trust to feel like victory. Doga says maybe quiet is what comes after surviving something loud. Yaman looks at her. He asks whether she plans to turn every experience into life lessons now. Doga says something has to provide wisdom in the relationship. Yaman tells her perhaps already has that job. Doga become often they begins walking. For the first time, security concerns are not controlling every step they pass. The damaged bonds, the broken equipment, the places where pupils try to frightening them. Everything is still there, but so are they. Yaman tells Doga the farm will need month of repairs. Doga says she already has a plan. Yaman stopped walking. He says those words frightening him more than criminal. Doga smiles. She opens a notebook. Yaman immediately tries to walk away. She follows him, explaining investment ideas, rebuilding plan, and a community project that can make quickly to stronger than before. Yaman complains. Doga keeps talking. Their voice moves across the farm. The dangers did not turn them into dangerous peoples. Yaman is still stubborn. Doga still plan everything. They are argue, but the argument are no longer wars. They are simply part of the way they love. And while the worst enemy has finally been arrested, sections 4 end by opening a different question: what happens when survival is no longer the main goal? Yaman and Doga have spent months fighting remain enemies, protecting land, and uncovering the past. Now they have something of futures. Relationships include both Kikli and Doga ambitions, and something building futures can be hard fight for the past. Doga dangers change everything. Law of natures moving toward a point where Doga says can no longer pretend their relationships is based on the competitions and old problems. For a long time, both of them found it easiest to fight than to understand what was really happens between them. Yaman looked at Doga and remembers the young woman connected with one of the worst moments of his past. Doga looked at says a stubborn man who seemed determined to make her difficult. Every meeting became an argument, every simple conversation turned into a challenge. Yet the strange, while neither of them truly wanted the other person to despair, their fight kept pulling them closer. Their interest begins, the concerns became jealousy, fear, and the connections they both were to name now the least dangers around Doga and finally force them to look at the trust they have been avoiding. Doga's situations become authorities, especially serious after Bursa allowed her jealousy is no longer just another woman around Yaman. She has become the person standing between Bursa and the trust she security image for herself. Bursa has spent a long time believing that the closeness to Yaman means something important. She understood his life, his family, his responsibilities and world of Kiklis. She believed that the patience would eventually bring them closer. Then Doga appeared. She did not understand Yaman world at first. She found against almost everything he valued. She complained, made mistake, and challenged him away. Bursa never would. Yet somehow Yaman's attentions kept moving toward Doga. This is what Bursa cannot accept from the point of view. It feels unfair. She remembered close to Yaman without causing problems. Doga entered his life like a storm and changed everything. Bursa sees Yaman become angry when Doga it is dangerous. She noticed the way he is looking. She sees that their argument carry an emotional energy that is very different from ordinary dislike. Bursa also understands something that Yaman and Doga are still refusing to admit. Their conflict has become part of their attractions. Jealousy begins to grow inside Bursa and still stop. Clearly, the stop Doga inside the old storage room. She may tell herself that she wants to frightening him. Perhaps she wills Doga spend a short time there or learn some kind of lessons, but dangerous choices do not remain under the choice to remain under the control of the persons who makes them. A locked door of freezing room, panic and delay, discover can quickly blame a life-threatening situation inside the old room. Doga intentionally reacts with anger rather than fear. She hits the door and calls for help. She excused someone she felt quickly. She cannot believe that Bursa has gone. His fault. Doga shouts her name, damaging. She was one door. This is no answer. Doga looks around for another way. There is none. She researches for a tool that could help for one the door for inside. She trying uses whatever she can find. Her hand becomes painful from the cold. She continues because stoppings mean allowing fear to take over. At first she is still Doga as everyone know her angry, determined, refusing to accept defeat. She even speaks to herself, of course that this happens to me. She complains about the cold, the terrible timing, Bursa, Yemen, Catholic, and every decision that brought her to this place. Then the temperatures begin affecting her body. Her movement becomes slower. The angers become harder to hold on to. She wraps her arms around herself and sits for her moment before forcing himself to stand again. She remembers Yaman telling her repeatedly that she never takes danger seriously. The thought makes her angry. Even while trapped, she can imagining his voice. You never listens. She almost answers him loud. Yes, Yaman. Then he identified the perfect moment for one of your speeches. Thinking about the strangerly help, Doga remains remembering her argument. She remembered the first day at the farm. She will believe he enjoyed making the miserables. She remembered the way the look at the she will incapable of doing anything useful. She remembered how strongly she wanted to prove him wrong. Then she remembered the moment when his anger changes, the time when the project her protected her, the time with the became frightening of her, the time when she became frightening for him. Doga closes her eyes. She remembered the sea. She remembered making decisions without thinking because Yaman was in danger. That memory, Yaman's safety question she does not want to answer. Why does Yaman's safety matter so much to her? Doga immediately rejected the truth. This is not the time. But her mind continues. Why does she notice when another woman stands too close to him? Why does she become angry when he acts as though she means nothing? Why does she feel victorious when he admits she was right? Why does this approval matter when she spent so much time insisting that she did not care what he thought? Toga slowly understands that being trapped in a cold room is somehow easier than answering these questions. Outside Muse begins realizing something is wrong. Perhaps she noticed Bursa behaving strangely. Maybe Bursa avoid looking toward the storage area. Perhaps Muse hear a sound or realize Doga has disappeared after their confrontations. She asks where Doga is. Bursa gives a weak answer. Muse does not believe her. There is something about Bursa's face that creates immediate concerns. Muse searches the area. She calls Doga phones, no answers. Then she hears something fair from behind the cold room door. Muse's expression changes. She calls Yaman. Yaman is busy somewhere else on the farm when the calls come. He answers impatiently because there is already too much happening. The mute says Doga may be trapped, everything inside. Yaman changes. He stops hearing the rest of the sentence. Where Muse tells him Yaman runs, he does not think about whether other opens are watching. He does not about why his reaction is so strong. He does not care. The only things is matter. He does not care. The only things that matter is searching Doga when the arrived Muse is trying to open the door. Yaman demands to know what happens. Muse says she does not know. He calls Doga name. At first there is no answers. Yaman hits the door. Doga inside. Doga hears something distant. She lifts ahead. For a moment she thinks she imagined it. Then she heard her again. Yaman. She tries to answer loudly but her voice is weak. Yaman outside her hears enough that one quiet response frightening him more than silence. He begins forcing the door. Muse tells him they should get the proper key. Yaman does not want to wait. Every second suddenly feels dangerous. He orders someone to bring equipment. He tries again. The door finally opens. Cold air moves out. Yaman steps inside. He sees Doga sitting against the wall. For a moment he became completely still. The woman who normally fits every room with movement, noise, argument, and impossible idea look weak and executed. Doga. She looks toward him. Even now she manages a small smile. You took your time. Yaman fear turns immediately into anger because anger is easier for him. Are you completely insane? Why did not you? He stopped. This is nothing she could have done. Doga looks at him. Are you really shouting at me while I am freezing. Yaman moves toward her. Can you stand? Of course, she tries. Her legs fail. Yaman coaches her before she falls. Doga hates this. I can walk. No. I said I can walk, and your legs just said something else. Normally, she wants fight longer. This time, she does not have the strength. Yaman lifts her into the warm. Doga immediately becomes uncomfortable, partly because people are watching and partly because begins the close. He makes her aware to feelings she has been trying to avoid. Put me down, no, Yaman Doga. She knows that once there will be no argument. He puts one hand around his shoulder because she has no other choices. Yaman carries her outside. For a few seconds, their eyes meet. Doga sees something she has never seen so clearly before. Fears, not annoyance, not anger, fear. Yaman was frightening that he might lose her. She looks away. That realization feels more dangerous than the cold room. Everything gathers around. Muse brings something warm. Something calls for medical help. Bursa stands at a distance. For her falls is pale. She did not expect even to become this serious. When Yaman noticed her fears, his expression changes. Doga sees it. She immediately understands that she suspects something. Yaman. He looks at her. Not now. Yaman wants answers. Doga wants them too, but she does not. Wants to create another disaster while she can barely stand. He says nothing, but his anger remains. Doga is checked and told she needs warmth, rest, and observations. She hates every part of the evidence except warmth. When something tells her to rest, she asks if someone has forgotten that they are in middle of important work. Yaman stares at her. No. Doga looks at him. No word, no work. She almost laughed. You do realized you are not my boss. Today I am. That is not how employment works. You are going to rest. You don't control me. Yaman moved closer. Fine. The considers it is request. Doga becomes silent. Yaman almost never requests things. He orders, he argues, he decides. Hearing him ask changes the entire conversation. Doga looked at him for a moment. You're asking? Yes, politely. Don't make me regret it. A small smile appears on her face. Fine, Yaman exhaled in relief. Doga noticed again. She sees the trust underneath his anger. She was terrified later when Doga is resting. She tries to understand what happens. The particles party is easy. Bursa locked her inside. She needs to confront her. The emotional part is harder. Yaman reactions continue playing in her mind. The way he called her name, the way he carried her, the way his hand shook slightly, even though he tries to hide it. Doga does not want to think about what it means. Mira, if she is present during this stage, sees immediately that something is happening inside her. Friend mind, she asks whether Doga is okay. Doga says yes. Vera says she is obviously not. Doga assumes she means because of the cold room. Vera could not ask what happens when Yaman found you. Nothing. He the opens door and I came out. Vera smiles that simple yes. Where are you looking like that? Like what? Like somebody told you the ending of your love story. Doga becomes irritated. This is not a love story. Vera says nothing. That silence anyone Doga more than an argument. Doga took at me like that. I don't says anything. Your face did. Vera smiles wider. Doga turns away. She does not realize she has begun using of one of Yaman's favorite defensive line. Meanwhile, Yaman is outside searching for answers. He questions Muse. He tells him what she noticed. He asks whether Bursa was nearby. Muse hesitates that hesitation is enough. Yaman goes to find Bursa. She knows immediately why he is coming before he can ask. Burka says, "Is what an accident?" Yaman stop. "I don't ask anything yet." Bursa realizes her mistake. Yaman looked at her with disappointment rather than simple anger. The argue, the hurt more. What did you do? Bursa tries explaining. She says Doga was provoking her. She says only want to frightening her. She says he did not know the door would remain locked so long. Yaman becomes colder with every sentence. She could have died. Bursa's eyes filled with tears. "I did not want that, but you put her there." I was angry, so Bursa looked at him. "You don't understand." Yaman's voice became hard. "Then explain." Bursa finally said what she was have been hiding. Bursa finally said what she has been hiding. "Because of you." Yaman becomes silent. Bursa continued before she loses courage. "Everything is because of you. Since she came here, you don't see anyone else." Yaman rejects the claim immediately. Um, that not true. It is. Bursa step closer. You fight with every day, but you watch her with the walk away. You complain about her, but the moment something happens, you first person running toward her. You say she excuses problems, but when she leaves, you're angry. Still, she comes back. Yaman does not answer. Bursa realizes she has finally reached the trust he does not want to hear. "I have been here." Yaman looks at her. "I have always been here." Her voice breaks. "I thought maybe one day you would see me." Yaman angers weakness slightly. He understands that she is in pain, but understanding pain does not excuse what she did. "Bursa, I never promised you anything." "I know. Then why punish Doka?" "Because she did not have tried." Yaman expressions changes. Bursa laughed bitterly. She blamed hers fighting you. She insulted everything you believing in. She wanted to leave, and somehow you still looked at her. Yaman tries to deny it. Bursa stopped him. "Don't." There is excusing his voice now. "At least don't lie to me when I have finally stopped lying to him myself." She asked him the question she has been avoiding. "Do you love her?" Yaman becomes still. The easy answer is no. He could say it immediately. Mothers earlier he would have. Now the word does not come. Bursa sees everything in his silence. He looks away, tear in her eyes. "That's what I thought." Finally, Yaman says, "I don't know." Bursa laughs softly. "You know." He does not respond. Bursa tells him not giving something a name did not make it disappear. Then she leaves. Yaman remains when he is. Her questioning followed him. Do you love her? He thinks about Doga is the cold room. He thinks about the moment he believed she might not answer. He remembers how quickly everything else became meaningless. Money, argument, old revenge, pride, nothing matter. Old Doga, their realizations frightening him. Yaman has built his around control. He trusts work before because effort creates result. He tells the land because seasons have mattered partners. He trusts responsibility because duties can be understood. Love is different. Love does not ask whether it is convenient. It does not care about old plan. It does not follow rules. It simply appears and begins changing everything. Yaman hears that. He returns to check on Doga. She is sitting instead of resting. He looks at her. She looks at him. What you're supposed to be laying down. I am sitting, that not resting. It is more resting than standing. Yaman closes his eyes briefly. Why do you make everything difficult? Doga smiles. What do you make everything and orders? He wants to answer, but the unusual agreement feels different now. Bursa question is still the mind. Doga noticed its unusual silence. What wrong? Nothing's you not strange. I am fine. Doga studies him. She has become too familiar with his expressions. Not your not. Yaman changes the subject. How are you feeling? Cold. He immediately reaches for anything blanket. Doga watches him. I was joking. Yaman stopped. Doga smiles. Mostly he keeps her blanket anyway. He accepts it. Their hands touch for a moment. Both becomes quiet. Doga look at him. Yaman, yes. Why are you scared? He knows exactly what she means. No, these answers comes too quickly. Doga realizes an eyebrow. You were not. I know you don't be fine. That listening's way because your face looked like the world was ending. Yaman looked away. Doga teasing despair. She asked again more softly, why are you scared? Yaman finally answers yes. The room because very quiet. Doga did not expect honestly. Yaman continued, why? When you don't answer at first, he stopped. Doga waits. Yaman did not finish. He stand. I'll get you something warm. Doga watching him leaves. His heart is beating faster. She whispers to herself, this is becoming a problem. The next day, Doka refuses to stay inside. Everyone expected this. She walks toward the work area while Yaman is talking with Bursa. Burak Yaman sees her. His expression immediately changes. No, Doga, stop. Good morning to you too. Where are you here? I live here. You are supposed to be resting. I rested for one night. That was enough. No. Burak looks toward them and decides to move away before argument grow. Doga crosses her arms. She is saying, if you are fathers, I rather not to compare to holosize. Then stop acting like him. Yaman becomes offended. I am nothing like him. Doga smiles because she knows exactly how to annoy him. You both control. Doga, you are both convinced you know what best for me. Because apparently you don't see. Yaman's replies. He walked directly into the trap. Doga starts moving toward the others. He catches her arm gently, waits. She returns. His expression is serious. At least take it slowly. Doga sees genius, confronts her anger, despaired a little fine. Yaman realizes her. She walks away. Burak returns and looks at Yaman. What? Burak says nothing. Don't says anything. Your face did. Burak laughed. Yaman realizes everything has entered using Dogar language around him. This is becoming unbreakable. Dogar decides she will confront Bursa herself. Yaman objects. This makes even more determined. She says is between the two of them. Yaman says Bursa nearby killed her. Doga answers that this is exactly why she needs to speak with her. Yaman offered to come. No, Doga, no, you don't know how she reacts, and you do. At least the someone stay nearby. She looks at him. Are you going to follow me if I say no? Probably, she signs. Fine, stay nearby, but you don't interference unless I ask. Yaman agrees too quickly. Doga becomes suspicious. You are not planning to ignore that promise, are you? No, she narrows her eyes. Yaman looks innocent. She don't believe him. The confrontation happens away from everyone else. Bursa is already ashamed, but shame does not remove jealousy. Doga stands in front of her. For once, she did not begin by shouting. Why, Bursa? Look down. You know why? No, I know what you feel. I want to know. You throw that you give the right to put my life is dangerous. Bursa became defensive. I don't mean if that fears Doga noise that calms you locked me inside is freezing room. I am going to let you out. When Bursa has no answers, Doga takes a breath. She wants to remain that what could have happened. Bursa begins tried. Carrying does not be soft immediately. Then you don't soften immediately. Tears do not change actions. Bursa says, becomes angry again. Easy for you, they said. Doga stares at her. Bursa continue. You walk into people's life and take everything without enough noticing. What exactly did I take from you? You know, no, say it. Yaman Doga expression changes. Bursa watches carefully. That reaction confirms her belief. He was never your. Doga says the world comes out sharper than she expected. Bursa laughed bitterly. And he is your. Doga becomes silent. The question reaches somewhere deep. Bursa sees it. That what I thought. Doga regained control. That it's not about whether Yaman is mine or yours. He is person, not something either of us on. Bursa look away. Doga continue. If love him, tells him if he loves you, that this is choice. If you does not, that is also his choice. But you don't get to punish me yet because afraid of his answers. Doga realized she may already have asked me him. What happens? Nothing. You talk to him. Bursa says nothing. Doga heard suddenly. Breast festers. What did he say? Bursa looked at her. For 1 second, considering hurting, Doga is giving a cruel answers, but after everything she has already done, she cannot go further. She did not looks confused about what. Bursa almost smiled despite herself. You are really unbelievable. What? I asked him. What I loves you. Doga becomes completely still. Yaman waiting at distance cannot hear every word but see if changes Hey Doga, nobody. Bursa continue. He does not say no. Doga minds go blank. All of answers. He accepted this is the most dangerous. If Yaman had, she said, she could become angry and move on. If he said yes, she would at least know. But he did not say no. That means uncontentedly hope, possibility, everything. Doga fear. She turns fear about for a second. Bursa watches her dad. Something changes. Is Bursa understanding? She finally sees what she did not want to see. Doga is not confidently stealing Yaman. Doga is just as frightening and confused at Yaman. Bursa asks quality love. You love him too, you don't. Doga immediately turns back. This confrontation is about what you did to me. Bursa nods slowly. That's answers. Doga become angry. No, it's not. Bursa does not argue. She says she is sorry. Doga looks at her not because she expected immediate forgiveness, not because she wants sympathy, simply because she finally understood the seriousness of her actions. Doga says, I don't forgive you. Bursa says, false. Not now, this is different. Doga continued, but I also did not want to spend my life fighting you. Bursa no. Doga tells her that she needs distance. Bursa agrees and Doga walk away. Yaman approaches. He looks at her face. What happens? Nothing. You're upset. I am fine. Yaman raised an eyebrow. Doga realizes she is using an exact habit. Don't worry, don't rely anyone else. I was not, your face was. They begins walking. Doga is very aware of what Bursa told her. Yaman don't know that she not. This create a strong silence. Her finally asks, what did she say? Doga looks at him. Should you know? Yaman immediately understand. Bursa told her. His expression changes. Doga sees it. She asks you something. Yaman look away. Doga where? She says nothing. Yaman yes. What did she ask? You already know. I want to hear you say it. He stopped walking. Doga stopped too for a moment. Neither know where to look. Finally, Yaman says, she asks whether I love you. Doga hears a raises and Yaman looks directly at her. What did she tell you? That you said you don't know. Yaman says nothing. Doga tries to joke. Very clear answers. Yaman does not smile. Doga confidence began despairing. She wishes she had never started this conversation. She turns to leave. Yaman catches her hand, not her arm. Her hand. Doga looks down, then up. I don't say no. She swallows. I hear Doga. She waits. Yaman is close to saying more, but fear appears, not fear of her. Fear of what comes after hearing more, but fear appears, no fear of her. Fear of what comes after. Honestly, he hears her hand. I need time. Doga face changes. She hides her quickly. Of course, Yaman immediately realized she said the wrong thing. That not what I meant. What did you mean? I means everything because I stared in the worst possible way. Doga became defensive. I know I spent years angry at you. I know that too, and you everything is different. Apparently, no difference enough. She walked away. Yaman followed Doga. She turns. Don't follow me. He stops for once. He listens. Don't keep. Doga walking. Her eyes fill with tears. Doga with makes his angry at herself. She should his fears reject her. He did not promises her anything others, yet the currently teaches every insecurity she has. Doga has spent years praising confidence because confidence gives her control. She knows how to enter a room and make people listen. She knows how to argue for business ideas. She knows how to challenge powerful people. Love removes all of that protection. That is perfect apartment's argument that forces someone to choose you. No money can you currently, no clever plan can protect against rejections. This is why he hates these feelings. Vera finds her letters. Doga intentionally refuses to discuss it. Vera continues sitting outside her. Doga finally says he needs time. Vera does not ask who she knows. It's that bad, yes. Why? Because normal people know whether they love someone. Vera laugh. Doga become irritated. Why are you laughing? Because you have been loved in with him once and you are still pretending once your month. Nothing's come. Vera smiles. Exactly. Doga looks away. I am not in the with him. Uh, Fine, I am not. Stop agreeing. I am agreeing. You are not annoying. Not Vera against. Not you are begins annoying. Every Vera laugh again. Doga eventually smiles too. Then she became serious when neighbors know. Vera says they decide, but you don't to do what. Doga looks confused. Vera explained that Yaman uncontentedly does not have to control her whole life. She has spent being honest, answers that feelings even he is still afraid of his. Doga hates the idea that sound terrible begin honest begin unvaluable. Vera smiles some things sometimes. Meanwhile, Yaman his own conversations with perhaps he did not. It tells everything he did not need to perhaps sees his problem immediately. She asks why Doga is avoiding him. Yaman says she is not. At the exact moment Doga walks past without looking at him. Perhaps he waits. Yaman sighed. Fine, what did you do? Why did you assume I did some things? Experience. Yaman looks often, perhaps smile. He eventually admits that Bursa asks whether he loves Bursa. Where's become interfered and I said look disappointed. Yaman become defensive. What was I supposed to say? The trust, I don't know the trust. Perhaps says nothing. Yaman become uncomfortable, but you know. Yaman hears Bursa word against you know. Everyone seems to believe they understand. He's heard better than he does. Perhaps ask one question when you thought Doga might die in the room. What he means, nothing you felt. Yaman does not answer. He does not need to perhaps continue. When he talks about leaving quickly, why do you feel? He stayed silent. When another man is interested her, Yaman look annoyed, perhaps smiled when she is happy. His expression softens without him realizing. Perhaps see it when she hurt his face changes again. She says, you know, Yaman sits down. His voice became quieter, but it's logically enough. Parham's expressions become serious. Yaman explained that feelings are not that only problem. He and Doga are completely different. The lives come from different world. He says responsibilities here. She may eventually want the city again. Hulasai will interfere. Their families will interfere. They fight constantly. Perhaps listens. Then she asks, are you looking for reasons if want work? Yaman does not answer or reasons not to be afraid. That answered questions because reaches him. Yaman has always believed caution is wisdom. Sometimes it is. Sometimes caution is simply fears. Wearing respectable clothes perhaps remind him that he once judged Doka based on the old a memory. He already wasted enough time living inside the past. Don't waste the futures too. Yaman looked toward the house. Doga visible in the distance. She is arguing with someone about a delivery. She almost smiled. Parham noticed. Go. Oh, Yaman says no. Uh, why is she angry? She has been angry at since she arrived. Yaman has not responded. Pirhams walk away. Yaman remains. Later, Stoga throw her back into work. She begins planning new environment for Pickles, part of its genius business focus, part of its genius emotional escape. If it remains busy, she does not have to think about Yaman. She scandals meetings, she reviews financial information, she works with local producers, she studies tourism opportunities, she begins developing a new public event that could bring visitors and attentions to Kiklis. Yaman says what she is doing. She knows her well enough now. She approves. You don't need to slow down. Doga, she does not look up. I am working. I can see that. Then why are you interrupting me? Because you me nearly frozen yesterday and today I am not. That not how. Recover work. Doga closes the laptop. It's the about health. Are you just looking for another reasons to control something? Yaman become irritated. Why does everything have to be a fight? Doga laugh without humors. You tell me. He understand immediately. This is not about work. You are angry about what I said. No, Doga, what I said? I need time. I did not. I feels nothing. She looked at him. This is supposed to make me feel better. I am trying to explain. Then explain. Yaman struggles. Doga waits. Finally he says, you have became before I realized it. Doga anger softens slightly. Yaman continue. And I don't know what to do. What that? She became quiet. He has already spoken his openly. When you first came here, I wanted you gone. Doga almost smiled, very romantic. Let me finish. She gestures for him to continue. I thought if you left, everything would become normal again. And you stayed clearly, and everything became less normal. Doga tries not to smile. Yaman expressions remain serious. I kept thinking my anger would come back. At the first, it was before. I did not know. Doga looks at him. Yaman takes a breath. Every time something happened to you, I was more afraid that I should have been. He heard begins raising again. How afraid should you have been? He almost smiled. You know what I mean. No, I want to hear it. Yaman looks frustrated. Doga realizes she is punishing, but she needs clarity. He says, I don't know how to do this. Doga expression softness. Do want this? The gestures between them, the fact that the event admit there is a this feels important. Doga becomes less defensive. Nothing's do I? Yaman looks surprised. You seems very confident. I am confident about everything. Doga thinks no. For once she let him see uncontentedly. Not about you. That honesty changes some things. Yaman stepped slightly closer. Doga does not move. Neither know what should happen next. This is not one of their normal arguments. There is no enemy, no emergency, no reasons to touch each other's. And yet the distance between them feels too large. Yaman looks at her hand, and there's the face. He slowly takes her hand. Doga breathes, coaches. The gesture is simple. That is what makes it powerful. They stand quality. Yaman says, I don't want you to believe. Doga looks at him, cackles. He shakes his head slightly. My life, the world, some out before he can stop them. Both freeze. Yaman look like he whispers. The cold pulls the sentence back. Doga eyes hidden For once he was no clever response. Yaman realizes her hand slowly. He takes a step back. Doga finds her voice. Yaman looks at her. That sounded every close to knowing. Yaman almost smiles. Maybe don't push it. Doga smiles properly now. The tension does not disappear, but it changes. They still have questions. They still do not call it love, but both now understand that this connection is real. The farm around them continue moving. That is important. Love does not stop the rest of life. Kikli still faces financial pressure. Sifas shares continue creating problems. Nasrin still dreams of our different futures. Hulasai still make plans without explaining enough. Still looks for messages, a weakness he can use. Vira's a secret that may soon threat frightening with Doga. Doga is still dealing with the consequence of what she did. Every character has a problem moving toward the same characters. Trust Yaman needs to trust Doga. Doga needs to trust Yaman. Bursa destroyed trust, jealousy. Vera may lost every because of securely. Vera Hulasai damaged that trust protections she can control. Mult uses trust as a weapon. This is why Doga called rooms dangers matter beyond the physical incidents. It became a symbol. She was locked inside by someone who allowed fear and jealousy to become stronger than honestly. Yaman opened the door. He is not only rescuing her physically, he is also being forced to open an emotional door inside himself. For years he kept Doga beside that part of his life. He could argue with her, he kept her, help her, he could protect her. But he would admit that the matters don't experience the same changes. Before the cold room, he could still claim that Yaman was simply an irritating man she happens to care about. After seeing his fears, that becomes much harder. She knows what she was. She knows how it feels her feel, and now that the Bursa asked the question directly, do you love Doga? Yaman did not say no. Those three facts begins changing everything in the following days. Their behavior became awkward in a way that everyone noticed. They argue less. This is suspicious. The breakfast, Yaman asked whether Doga slept well. Burak nearly choked on the floor. Food Doga gives him. Warning look perhaps hides a smile. Holosai looked between them. Yaman realized everyone is staring, but nobody answers. Doga says this is why you should insult me normally. Yaman looked at her. You want me to insult you? I would make everyone stop looking. Burak says, no, I will not. Yaman tells him to eat. Doga smiles her into the coffee. The new softness between them creates more attention than their fights ever did. Letters. Doga catches Yaman watches her work. She works over. Did you something? No. Why are you starting? I was not. You were. Maybe I was checking whether you are actually working. Doga looks offended. I work sometimes. She hits the slightly with a folder. Yaman laughed. Doga became still. He laughed. Affect her more now. She hates that. But nothing. You are starting now. I was not. Yaman smiles. Her own world has come back to her. She asks why before he can see her smile. For a short time his smile almost feel easy. The words make him next move. He approaches Vera privately. Expression is claimly, but Vera immediately understands something is wrong. She tells him she has nothing to discuss. Mud is not true. He mentioned the past. Veera faces changes. This is exactly what he wanted. Mud explained if it does not him, Doga will learn everything. Veera tells him he will destroy himself too. Mud smile. Maybe Veera asks what he wants. He tells her perhaps information, perhaps access, perhaps an influencing Stoga decisions about the land. Whatever the exact demand, it places Veera. It is in possible opposition. If she help Mud, she betrayed Doga. If she refuses, the old secret becomes public. Veera returns to the fame mistakes. Um, what happens? Nothing. Doga looks at her. Veera realized how difficult that world has become. Nothing. Everyone says nothing when something is wrong. Hulasai says nothing. Veera now says nothing. Doga begins to hate the world. Are you sure? Veera forces a smile. Yes, Doga does not believe her, but after everything with Yaman and Bursa, does not have the angry to push. Yaman, Veera watches her against become the next storm. He does not want revenge, he wants responsibility. Bursas agree. She says will accept whatever consequence comes. Yaman is surprised by her claimless. Bursa explained that seeing Doga after the door opened challenged something for a few minutes. She truly believes she had done something that could never be fixed. She does not want to become that person. Yaman tells her regret matters only its behavior changes. Bursa nods that she says, I was right about not things. Yaman knows what she means. She becomes defensive. Bursa almost smiles sadly. You still have don't her. Yaman says nothing. Yaman don't. You are wasting time. He looks at her. Bursa continue. I spent too much waiting for something that was not going to happen. Don't make the opposite mistake. What opposite mistake? Don't spend so much time begins afraid of something that already is happened. Yaman is surprised by her honesty. Bursa walked away. Even the woman hurt by his feeling can see the trust. Later that evening, Yaman finds Doga outside. She is looking over plan for the Tremest event. She sits near her. She glances at him. No arguments, not yet. Are you sick? Probably. Doga smiles. He looks at the plan. This is expensive. There it is. What the real Yaman is back. He almost laughed. Doga begins explaining the idea. Instead of immediately rejecting it, Yaman listens. This surprises her. She tells waiting for Christmas evening. Eventually she asks, you are begins very quiet. I am listening. That's new. Yaman gives her a look. Doga continues. She explained that Kikli needs more than temporary visitors. They need a clear identity, something that combines local food, farming cultures, natural and small terraces experience without turning the place into a fake luxury attractions. Yamans become interested. This is first from one of the earlier plan. You want to keep it simple. Yaman simple is not same as the cheap. Yaman sign. Doga laugh. She explained that people offer travel especially because they are want something real. If Kekli became like every expensive resort, it loses the reasons people would come. Yaman studies her. What nothing, you are staring again. You have changes. Doga became quiet. She is not sure whether it is a compliment. It had bad. No, Yaman looks across the land. When you first came here, I thought you wanted to change everything because you did not understand it. Doga waits. Now I think you are trying to protect it your own way. That's mean more to her any ordinary compliment. You closes the folder. Thank you. Yaman look at her, or Doga already answers. He raises without teasing. The seriousness of her response affected him. The quiet quality. Then Doga says, "You have changed to Yaman immediately. Disagree? No. Yes. How? You are less unbreakable. He look often less. I don't say completely. Yaman shake his head. Doga smiles. Then she became serious. You look serious more. He glanced at her. Sometime is progress. They look at each other. The confrontation shift naturally into something deeper. Doga asks, "Do you still hate me?" Yaman answers immediately, "No." The currently surprised her. "What did you stop?" He thinks, "I don't know." Doga laughs softly. "You really don't know anything." Yaman smiles. Apparently, she asked, "Did you still blame me for what happened years ago?" Yaman expressions changes. This is one of the hardest questions she should ask. He looked down at his hand for a long time. "Yes, and now." Yaman takes time. "I think I blamed you for more than you exactly did." "I think I blamed you uh, than you actually did." Doga listens carefully. "I was angry. Everything that happens that day, the interview, um, the humiliations, what I thought my life was supposed to become." He become avoid quieter. Are you the person's response to the I could attach the angers to Doga feels guilt. "I am sorry." Yaman looked at her. She continue, "I know I already before, but I am sorry." Yaman nods. "I know." Doga asks, "Doga, it still hurt?" He answers honestly. Sometimes he looks away. Yaman continue, "But when I look at you, I don't see that the first anymore." Doga turns back. "What do you see?" He almost answers, then stop. Doga smiles slightly more time. Yaman recognizes the joke. Maybe she laughs softly. He watches her. The answers he did not say it's simple. He says the woman who has become part of his everyday life, the woman who argued with him before breakfast, the woman who create impossible plan and somewhere make half to the family when each others laugh. He needs the Doga, not the past. This is already a form called Doga silver slightly. He noticed immediately. He takes the protesting. "No, why are you trapped in a freeze?" "I was not freezers close enough. I am fine." He places the jacket exactly the kind of that creates confusions. Yaman's became like, "Still what confusion?" She smiles. "Never mind." He knows that it's closer. No dramatic music is needed. No big confession. This their connection is visible in the silence. For Doga, this may be the first moment when she allowed herself for enjoying it for the returning without immediately turning it to an argument. For Yaman, it may be first time he understands that caring about her does not have to feel like weakness, but space does not last. Losing in quickly the next morning, new information arrived about the land. Someone land made another legal or a financial move. The family gathers. Yaman became angry immediately. Doga asks. She documents. She already knows some things about suspicious. He knows. How do you know? Hulasai refuses to answer directly. Doga becomes frustrated. Baba Hulasai, he says, was trying to handle the problem. Yaman laughed bitterly. Of course, Doga surprising side with Yaman. He should have told us. Doga looks at her. I was protecting you. Doga expressions changes. This world have followed her whole life, protecting you. Every decisions, every hidden trust, every problem solved before she understood it. She suddenly says, "Stop." Everyone becomes silent. Hulasai looks shocked. Doga continues, "Stop protecting me, be deciding that I am allowing to know." Hulasai tries to respond. You wanted to become responsible. You sent me here because you said I needed to learn. Now, how far? Fine, I learned, but you don't ask me grow up and still hide everything difficult from me. Yemen watches her. This is another side of Dogar transformations. She is no longer rebuilding simply because she dislikes rules. Holusai becomes quiet. Dogar tells him, tells quickly, in fact, me. Yaman looked at her. She noticed what she said quickly. So, you said it affect you. It does not. Anyone, this is not the time. I don't say anything. You faced it every during a serious family conflict. Their connections appear. Hulasai noticed he looks between them. Something in his expression suggests he is beginning to understand more than Ethers wants him to. The documents reveal that the land dispute is not finished. Toga ownership of the shares of the has made for a central part of the conflict. Yaman immediately becomes protective again. He says he should transfer the share back as soon as possible. Doga asks whether this is about trust, not then what. Yaman hesitates. He does not want her to become a target. Doga understands before he says it. You think I am in danger before of the share. Maybe, and your solution is to remove me from the problem. Yes, no. Yaman became frustrated. Why? Because I am already part of it. You don't have to be. Yaman looked at him. You don't did understand what she gestures around them. I don't stay there because I was trapped. Yaman became silent. I stayed because stay place became important to me. He says meet his at the peoples here important too. The emotional meaning is obvious. Yaman feels it. Doga realizes she has almost said too much. She looks toward the documents. She knows I am running because things because dangerous. Yaman tried at her. This is the opposite of the woman expected to live without days. He cannot stop right the falls. Doga noticed against with the face. Doga noticed again with the face. Yaman smiles silently. What his face says now. She studies him. They become nervous because the answers feels too intimate. Nothing he knows she is laying for. Once he lets her, the land conflict begins, bringing them closer because they must work together. Doga understands legal and business language better than many people at Kickers. Yaman understands the land, the family history, local relationships, and every particle's detail. Separate, both have weakness. Together, they become difficult to defeat. Doga begins creating a file of every transactions, communications, and ownership details. Yaman gathers all the record from the family. They needs to at the difficult offenses, their small habits begin irritating each other. Doga leaves papers everywhere. Yaman organized them. She became angry because she cannot find anything after the organize it. Yaman says organizations means putting things, systems work. He asks what system. She points the three piles important, every important she don't touch. Yaman stared. This is not system. It is to me. He moved one papers. Doga immediately no. What did you touch? Yaman looked guilty. She cannot believe it. You moved some things. I was help. You destroy the system. You had papers on the floor. There were the paper internationally. Yaman shake his head. 10 minutes had the arguing about filling fittings instead of the land. Burak walks in, see them, and walks straight back out. The normal comedy became part of what makes the growing love believable. Romance is not only dramatic rescue, it is learning how another person's work. It is discovering the tiny habits that drive you crazy. It is choosing